Welcome, everybody. Let's go Niners. My name is Jason Aponte. What's going on, 49er fans? Jason Aponte here with a big celebrity right now. Like somebody who, take some time. She's doing her own stream. She's back over here. She's on CBS Sports Reels. But more importantly, before talking about celebrity, happy birthday, Steph. Happy birthday to you. And look at you working on your birthday. Like working on your birthday, man. Like don't people just take their days off and then just go, but no rest?
Well, okay. I took the day off for my 9 to 5, so I'm out here, and I didn't get to do any like good recap videos yesterday because I had to check out from my hotel
Hmm.
before the practice even started. So I didn't have anywhere to stream really. So that's why today I was like, okay, I'm gonna dedicate today to doing some lives. But yeah, I appreciate it. Appreciate it.
Yeah, so happy birthday, Steph. Appreciate you for everybody that's here. Like this video, subscribe to both channels, like on both channels, and hit that notification bell on both channels so you know when we go live. Steph, there's a lot of talk about big risers out of camp. I don't know if there's a bigger riser out of camp than you and Brad, man, being there at this point, man. I mean, you guys made CBS Sports. They're using your videos, and the Vikings beat writers are reporting things one way, and people are using your videos in those tweets like, no, man, this isn't what we're seeing. Like, this is what we're seeing. Steph, first of all, congratulations to all your success, man. I'm so happy for you. How's it been? How's it been, understanding that right now, you're the hottest thing smoking right now at this point. You got a lot of good quote retweets from big people, things like that. How's it feel?
I mean, it's been awesome, but I like really quickly, like I just gotta shout you out because you gave me the idea of going out to this practice. So I probably wouldn't have even thought to go out there had it not been for your advice. And we missed you out there.
Yeah.
We could have been out there
I had
too, but
I
you
had
went
mad
you went too
FOMO.
hard. You went too hard at the training camp
Right.
in
I had
Santa
mad
Clara.
FOMO
So
too, man. I was sitting there like, damn it, man. I should be there, man. Like, but you know what? It was great to watch you guys do all that. But yeah, but how does it feel like right now? Like, I mean, it's follower counts is whatever. But I think the recognition that you're getting from so many people that we respect and we look up to, I think that's way more important than any follower count, anything like that.
yeah, I mean it's been nice. Like I hit 3,000 followers on Twitter, which is
Stonks.
is a good nice milestone to have. And like probably the coolest thing was having like Vikings fans like tweeting me and being like, "Yo, like thank you for your coverage." Like a lot of our Vikings beat reporter guys are like only talking about the Vikings wins and like not talking about both sides. So like I tried to be as unbiased as I could, right? And I'm going to report like if the 49ers do something not so good. And I got to give credit to the Vikings too. Their offense, like I thought, looked really good, even though yesterday our defensive line looked stacked and
Hmm.
freaking like a freaking menace out there, the defensive line. But Justin Jefferson and Kirk Cousins, I like they're on the same page and they look great together. So I was given unsolicited fantasy football advice that you guys should be trying to stack Kirk Cousins and
Wide
Justin
receiver one.
Jefferson.
Wide receiver one, not even close, man. I mean, Justin
Oh yeah.
Jefferson has had the best 2 years that any wide receiver's ever had, and this year is going to be his best year. So yes, 100%.
Yeah, so I had to give credit, and like also considering the fact that like come on, 49er fans know that our secondary was a little shorthanded, so like
Hmm.
a part of us weren't really surprised that this took place. So I had to give credit where it's due, and but yeah, it was a good solid 2 days of practice. I think for both sides, I think we saw some good things from both teams.
Well, let's start with the secondary because you were actually able to pick up on something that was reported on later. The 49ers actually had a workout at safety of Tashawn Gibson. Now, Steph, does that feel like somebody that is just going to be there so they can continue to practice with bodies because they're not going to have certain people, or do you think that Deshaun Gibson actually has a chance to make this roster or contribute?
That's tough to say. I feel like had the workout gone really well, we would have probably heard about a signing immediately just because the 49ers are like that shorthanded that like I feel like they could have used him. Like I almost thought that if the workout had gone well, like they were gonna put him out on the field like same day.
Hmm.
Kind of like what we saw with Crawley, right? Like same
Right.
thing happened now in Santa Clara. Um, But yeah, because we didn't see a signing get announced, I'm a little unsure. Like I don't know. Like they might decide they want to have him out there. Certainly, like they can decide to have him out there for the game just because they are going to be shorthanded. Like we even saw Quantrez Knight play some safety out there yesterday. So just pointing to the fact that they're shorthanded there and they need bodies. So yeah, I mean, there's still a possibility he could get signed. Like but they didn't sign him right away, so I don't know what that really tells you.
Well, it's just good eyes on your part. So let's go back to the secondary, right? And I think that you already mentioned the guy that actually started across from Diamador Lenore, which for me was a little bit of a shock when it comes to you would think that automatically first up with Emmanuel Mosley and Charvarius Ward out would have been Ambry Thomas and Diamador Lenore. Do you think that it's a little bit more telling that Ken Crawley was out there and not Ambry Thomas?
Uh yes, and I know Brad pointed it out after the first day too, like, ooh, like Ambry Thomas didn't get that many snaps today, like and he's kind of getting buried on the depth chart. And definitely, I mean, I think it does show how they feel about Ambry Thomas right now. And it's warranted, right? I mean, we've seen how he's looked in training camp and definitely in one-on-ones, he was getting beat, but everyone was getting beat against Justin Jefferson
Yep.
in one-on-ones, especially on the first day. Like everyone, he was just beating everyone. So I don't know, but I feel like they've given him the opportunity to step up to make plays, and he's flashed. He flashes sometimes, you know. Like yesterday, I feel like in one-on-ones, he came out more aggressive, and I was like, yeah, okay, like more of that, please. But yeah, altogether, I definitely feel like they're favoring some other guys over him. Definitely like some veterans, Kadar Holman as well. Like they've had getting some reps ahead of him. So yeah, I mean, it definitely speaks to how they feel about Ambry right now, and you have to wonder if he's on the bubble.
Right. And here's the thing is, look, I think, I've made this clear. Justin Jefferson is my favorite wide receiver to watch right now. If it had been Charvarius Ward and Emmanuel Mosley that would have been locking up with him, I probably would have made a more concerted effort, even if the
Yeah,
flight was outrageous. Maybe I would have taken a bus or something like that. Like I needed to see that. I felt like that would have been prime time. Wasn't
yeah,
as interested in seeing Diamador Lenore, Ambry Thomas, those guys go up against him because
that's fair.
to be fair, Justin Jefferson beats the best in the game. And that's
Yes.
no slight at them or anything like that. But one thing that I tried to keep positive was it only takes one or two plays for you to turn your confidence around. And I
Mhm.
was watching Good Morning Football today, and Jason McCourty was talking about what are the things that you look for in a top defensive back or just a starting defensive back. The first thing he literally said was confidence. And again, you cannot play slow. You cannot think. You have to be able to have a short memory and move on. So Lenore, it looked like from day one after I spoke with Brad and according to you guys' reports, yeah, he had some tough reps, but then he comes right back. And,
Yeah.
and he beat and Justin Jefferson kind of gives him an outside release, cuts back in, and Lenore makes a play. That's the kind of positivity that I was talking about. Like it only takes one or two plays to kind of put you in a different mind frame and kind of change the way that you're playing. So I thought that while it's not the best, it's not ideal to be going up against probably the best route runner in the league at this time, and maybe one or two, depending on who you ask. I have no problem with that. But at the same time, there is a chance for you to grow a little bit more from
Mhm.
this and learn a little bit more. And I think that that's how we should have been looking at it. And it looks like Lenore at least did that. So that's a positive.
Yeah. Yeah, and like I mentioned, like you know that they know they need to step up. Like
Mhm.
time's ticking for both of these guys. And if they have any opportunity to really show that they deserve to be on this team, it's right now.
Right.
Like there's no better time for them to do that with them getting these extra reps. So I mean, I like you said, I was encouraged for sure by, Lenore stepping up on day 2 as well as Ambry Thomas a little bit. And it almost seemed like they also ran, I think, a little more zone yesterday.
Okay.
I think just to switch it up and see if maybe they had more success with that, which altogether I feel like they did.
Mhm.
We certainly didn't hear Justin Jefferson having the same day that he had in day 1. He still got his, as
Mhm.
Brandon Ayuk said, like Justin Jefferson was going to get his.
Right.
And he did, but it was definitely a concerted effort on the second day to, limit those big plays, which altogether, I feel like they did a better job at.
Awesome. Let's stick with the defense. Nick Bosa's pretty good at football, huh?
Sources say.
Per sources, word on the street. Is he him, or does he have that dog in him, and is he built different? Those are the questions that I have for you about Nick Bosa.
Yes, yes, and yes.
Nice, love it. That's enough with Nick Bosa. No, with this line, I think that everybody knows what they're going to be at certain positions. You know what Eric Armstead is going to be. You know what Nick Bosa is going to be. Talk to me about what you saw from Javon Kinlaw. Besides the fact that he's literally sculpted out of granite or concrete, looking like a monster. What else did you see from him in day 2?
I mean, he's just one. I mean, we know he's a massive human being, but that also demands certain, you know, it demands the offensive line to pay attention to him a little bit more. And when they don't, he's able to get through their guys. I mean, there was one play I posted a video of where he got through the Vikings guard, Udo, and Drake Jackson had a great play on that one as well. But I think we're going to see a lot of Kinlaw needing to be like double teamed, and that's going to open things up for other guys. And okay, if you don't double team Kinlaw, then it's going to open up Kinlaw and he's going to make a play. So like, I think it's a pick your poison type of thing with this defensive line right now. And with Kinlaw being such a dominant force in the middle, it's going to open up like the ends really well, I think.
Yeah, and that's the dynamic of all of this is, you know, even last year when Kinlaw had limited reps and in 2020 when he had limited time, he was still clogging up the middle. Like you still had to pay attention to him and put 2 on him. So think about now putting him next to Eric Armstead, who completely flourishes on the inside. Javon Kinlaw, as long as, again, people keep asking about what's the stat prediction? Just play 17 games and the rest is going to take care of itself. I don't think you'll be able to quantify everything that he brings to the table with stats, right? Because if he is demanding that attention, then it puts you on an island where you have to, like you said, pick your poison at this point. I want to stick with the line real quick because I think, you know, it was good to see Eric Armstead back out there. It was also good to see Emmanuel Mosley getting back out there. So that kind of leans to the idea that he'll be ready for week 1, which is all good right now at this point. But talk to me about Drake Jackson, man. Like he flashes in the Green Bay Packers game. We had the little stinger scare, but he played a bunch during these joint practices. So I guess the stinger is okay, right? And that doesn't sound like a serious injury. But what did you see from Drake Jackson?
I mean, basically, like we saw more of what we saw from that Packers game in these practices against the Vikings. I mean, when he's playing against the special teams, he just looks like he's too good to be there. Like, so I figure he's going to start getting more first team reps. He's going to be part of that regular rotation more often, which is tough, right? Because there's so many good guys on this defensive line. It might mean like Ebukam might get some less snaps with the first team, but that's just how stacked this team is. And I think that Drake Jackson has showed that he's deserving of those extra reps. So yeah, I mean, he's continued to look good. I posted that one video clip. I was talking about where, you know, he was able to break. They did like a chip block, a tight end chip blocked him. He got right back up. It didn't even affect him at all. He didn't even fall to the ground. Like he just got right back to it.
But Viking fans were probably like, "Ooh, he's dominating him."
Something like that. Yeah, they're a little biased, but yeah, I mean, I think he's going to be a force. I mean, there's a few times where credit to Kirk Cousins because I felt like Kirk Cousins did a good job of getting the ball out quick. But despite that, like you can see the defensive line like getting free very quickly as well. Kirk just did a good job of getting the ball out, you know, quicker. But I saw Drake Jackson getting free, you know, off the line really quickly as well. So, I mean, take that for what it's worth. I think he's going to get more reps really soon.
All good vibes, honestly, when it comes to the defensive line, and all reports that we got with the defense were really good. 15 minutes in, make sure you guys like this video on both channels, subscribe to both channels, hit that notification bell. I'm here with Steph of the 49K pod. She's been crushing it with her camp. I'm just basically going to be sitting here doing an interview basically because I wasn't there and I don't like to speculate on things. I can read reports and everything, but having to see it, I think there's a little bit more to it. So that's why I have Steph here at this point. Steph, let me ask you this. This is what everybody's here for. Trey Lance going to win unanimous MVP, throw 600 touchdowns and throw 0 interceptions because that's what everybody would deem as a successful season, right? Everybody has all these crazy expectations for the kid. How did he look during these joint practices?
I mean, I think he looks good. I mean, definitely temper expectations as far as like his stat lines go. I mean, yesterday he was 13 of 19, which doesn't seem bad, but the offense as a whole yesterday, I felt like was just not in a good rhythm. And
Wait a minute, Steph. Hold on a second. Hold on. Wait. So 13 of 19, but you weren't thoroughly impressed. Oh, so wait a minute.
it's almost like
This
context. It's almost like
numbers
context matters.
numbers don't tell the story. You damn it, man. I was today years old when I found this out. Continue, Steph, please.
Yeah, it's almost like context matters, right? I mean, and that could go both ways, right? Like there's times where he's had really bad completion percentage on the day, but we thought he looked good. And yesterday, I don't want to say he looked bad because I more so would say it was the offense as a whole and more so the offensive line,
Mhm.
which looked bad, and I felt like that definitely limited the offense
Right.
yesterday. And so, but Trey Lance, I felt like in these last two practices, what he's done a good job of, because I'm gonna take the good with the bad here.
Of course.
I think he's done a good job of hanging in the pocket, keeping his eyes up. The same things we saw all throughout
Mhm.
camp. He's continuing to do that, and
Mhm.
so what that gives you is, he's taking the checkdowns, which is okay. Like, and I reported like, yeah, he's doing a lot of checkdowns in the 7-on-7. With 7-on-7s is funny because there is no offensive line, so I don't
Mm-mm.
know what happened there, but um, he's just taking what the defense is giving him, and that's okay. Like
Mhm.
we'll take that as well, right? So while it wasn't entirely super aggressive, I think it was okay, and I thought we just continued to see the good things that we have been seeing, and to me, like that's enough. The one thing that I'm a little not concerned with, I don't want to, bring too much, I guess, light to this, but the connection with Debo, they connect a lot, but it still seems like the timing is
Mhm.
not always there, but still working out those kinks. And you can tell like they're trying because they're I see Lance targeting Debo quite a lot, I would
Mhm.
say. And so on the interception, I think we saw like a bit of that timing, and looking back at it, because on the live I just did now, like I was looking at that play over and over, and it was a really tight window. He probably shouldn't have thrown that ball to begin with. But I came away thinking, okay, if he had to throw that ball, the placement wasn't terrible
Mhm.
because you don't want the Jay, would you call that like bracket coverage when like the did you see the clip that I
I
posted on
didn't.
that
So
one, the
if it's
interception?
yeah, so if you it basically what that means to me is either you shaded somebody over the top or you just have if you have two guys in the area and they're focused on one person, then I'm pretty sure you can contribute it to that,
Yeah.
call it
Yeah,
that.
so
So
that's what it looked like to me. And so you had the guy, the immediate defender on Debo, and then you had like the bracketed defender
mhm.
who was closing in. And so I think part of the reason that Trey Lance kind of threw it slightly behind, like I would say it looked a little behind Debo, was because he didn't want to lead Debo too far because
Right.
then the bracketing defender would have been able to make a play on it. It just so happened that the immediate defender on Debo was able to get a hand on it, and
Okay.
actually that window closed very quickly, so it was
Mhm.
unclear who got the hand on it, but the ball got tipped up in the air. Another Vikings defender was able to make a great, diving catch to get that interception. So a little unfortunate, trying some risky things there, and again, trying to get the ball to Debo and force that connection a little bit. I don't want to say force. That sounds bad, but
Mhm.
you know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
they're making a
they're
concerted
working
effort
through it.
to get something. Yeah, exactly. So that's the one thing like I continue to keep an eye on, and unfortunately we won't see that on Saturday as they both won't play, but
Mm-mm.
definitely gonna be keeping an eye on that, seeing what happens in the future with that.
I kind of wanted to touch on what you said about taking the check down and what the defense gives you, because I think that a lot of people, when they hear that, automatically take that as a negative. And I don't think it's going to be that, especially in this first time that we're going to see extended reps from Trey Lance. So, what I mean by that is he needs to be a game manager and a playmaker at the same time in his first year while he's developing, if that makes sense. What I mean by that is do not turn the ball over. take what they're giving you, and if that means, live to see another down, that's great. But also be that guy when the ball is supposed to go down the field to actually throw that thing. So there is a way for him to be a game manager and for him to be a playmaker. And I think that while he's getting through these reps and while he's learning and while he's getting better, he was on Matt Mayoko's pod, I believe, or Matt Mayoko said on his pod that he and Debo, it looks like things are gelling and he's gelling with his receivers more and more. I think that's going to be a process because we're just so used to him and Brandon Ayuk linking up, because him and Brandon Ayuk have been working out for 2 straight seasons. And the reason that got me excited, that report, is because Mike Florio was the one who actually wrote about it. And it's like, man, if that guy even had to say anything about the 49ers that was nice or good, that he means right. That he means it, and against his Minnesota Vikings, by the way, too, against his Minnesota Vikings. But with this, again, the numbers aren't going to tell the story. You do need the context. Again, you can't jump out the window and say that you're super excited when it's 13 for 19. When we tell you that sometimes you can't jump out the window when it's 4 for 13. The same way, and I think that that's where this gets a little bit lost. Is 49er fans don't want to hear negative reports, but when a positive report comes out, they're like, "Aha! See, no. We have to keep it down the middle and level-headed. If you're not going to take the numbers into your consideration or have them highly up on your board, then you have to be like that the entire way." And that's the message I guess I want to give, 49er fans. It just seems like anything negative, it's like, la, 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 don't hear you, didn't hear that. And then when it's something good, it's like, aha, you see, and you're retweeting that, and it doesn't matter where it comes from. It's got to be both ways. It's got to be the same exact thing. So in terms of that, it sounds like, the same things that kind of happen in camp, the same things is you're going to have the ups, you're going to have the downs, but not turning the ball over. But I will say this, from all reports, it sounds like he's stacking positive days, one on top of the other. And I think that's way more important than any sort of camp number or any sort of completion percentage number or anything like that at this point. He has to simultaneously somehow be a game manager and a playmaker, and he can do that since the 49ers are going to have complementary pieces all the way around him. Let's talk about what's concerning the offensive line. You and I talked right after practice, right? Mm-hmm. And, you sent me a text message that kind of troubled me just a little bit, just a little bit, right? Because I try to be level-headed, and I've been saying, hey, man, just relax. They got to have cohesion, You said the offensive line looked bad. That's the word you used, bad. Talk to me. Talk me off the ledge.
I don't know if I could do that, but what I will say, because context matters, as we say, right? Mm. Mike McGlinchey's not in there, and I don't know how much him being there would change. But I will say McKivitz has been struggling at right tackle, so that is part of it. But he
wasn't earlier either. That's the thing about it. Is like everybody's like, oh well, look, he's been struggling. He wasn't like that at camp.
So, I don't know what that means. Like, maybe this particular matchup was just, a lot for him. But also Spencer Burford, who had been doing well in camp. He did well in his first preseason game, but he was getting beat, in both of these practices quite a few times as well. So that's definitely something I'll be paying attention to in this in the game tomorrow, because, we expect Burford probably going to get a lot of snaps once again. So who knows? Maybe he'll turn it around for the game, hopefully. And I think the thing that was extra troubling, even Trent Williams was giving up sacks.
See, and that's what scared me a little bit. When I heard that Trent Williams got beat for a sack, I was like, wait a minute, no. Like that is just like absolutely not. Like, I don't want to hear that. Go ahead.
Yeah, and that's just from what I saw. Like, maybe he got beat more times than I didn't see, but I know the first day, Zadarius Smith got through, and then
who's good at football, by the way.
Yes. Yeah. That context does matter. Like,
the Vikings have a really good line. Daniil Hunter's really good. Like, that's the thing too. Is it's, again, Jordan Elliott made this statement on Twitter, and I want to put this out there because it's not my statement, it's his. It's okay sometimes to give the opposition credit and say, you know what, they beat your guy. It's not always, oh my God, that guy's terrible, or oh my God, that guy's struggling. That guy's good on the other side. They get paid too to play on the other side.
Yeah, so both Zadarius Smith and Daniil Hunter were having some good days. They were stacking their days. Mm-hmm. And Trent Williams, he's been having like really good practices against Nick Bosa, but he also goes against Nick Bosa like all the time, right? So he knows how to go up against him and win against him. Whereas, these last 2 practices going against Hunter and Zadarius Smith, you know, it's okay to lose
It's all
sometimes
right.
because, like you said, those guys are really good. So I'm not trying to get like too hung up on the offensive line play, but I do want to, I guess, prepare fans for the fact that this offensive line is not going to be perfect, especially not right out of the gate. I
Mhm.
think even last season we saw this, right?
Yeah.
That the beginning of the season, you could tell like they had some gelling to do. They hadn't really built that cohesion quite yet, and it resulted in, some bad OL play. And I think we can expect to see that again, especially with two new starters on the line. Um, and I mean, hopefully McGlinchey's all right, and when he comes back from his injury, like he's ready to go 100%. But yeah, I think it's going to take some time to gel. And if there's any positive that I think we can take from this, is the fact that the quarterback behind this offensive line matters, and
Mhm.
he is going to be able to make something happen despite, I think, the offensive line struggles more often than not.
Right. And you definitely don't want to have him running for his life. We watched Justin Fields last night. He had some issues up front. Not all of that. By the way, that clip that's out there floating around about the Bears offensive line, we've got to stop giving guys platforms that don't understand what's going on the field. One of those plays is literally a screen where you're supposed to allow the pressure in your face and throw around it. They had emergency things like it's always not like, oh, look, he's struggling under practice, things like that. But at the same time, it does help that he has legs to do that. And the one thing that I'm going to keep saying is this, or the two things. McGlinchey will be back. It sounds like,
Mhm.
so that's good. We don't know what it's like without the starting right tackle. I think that once they continue to work together, and I think that's what's really important, is that they have to continue to work together because it was makeshift for much of camp. It is right now at this point with what's going on there. They'll build that, and also the coach is not just going to allow this to continue. Like if you think that he's just going to straight drop back Lance every single time and allow him to get hit or put his guys on islands, I doubt that that's going to happen. Need I
Yeah.
remind everybody one more time? He made you believe that Tom Compton was the best right tackle in the league running the ball, like and run blocking. He got Tom Compton another contract. Coach will figure it out. He'll figure out ways to scheme around it, and he has a much more dynamic quarterback. So, yes, this is going to be something that, much like the quarterback, we may see some ups and downs, ebbs and flows. But once you continue to gel and you continue to work, I think that you'll start to figure this out. And I trust the coach to not put this team in bad spots. He's not just going to say, all right, this line's having trouble protecting. Let's just drop back the kid, drop him back, drop him back, drop him back. Let's not do anything. Let's not run any draws. Let's not run any screens. Let's not bootleg him out. Like that's not how this is going to work, and especially against certain personnel. I got Steph here again, 27 minutes in, almost 160 people in here. Make sure you like this video on both channels, subscribe to both channels, and hit that notification bell on both channels. Shout out to everybody in the chat. Great discussions going on all over the place. Steph, injuries. We got to talk about them, right? And it seems like the hamstring injury is the new high ankle sprain, which I swear to God, if I hear one more hamstring
Don't say
injury,
that.
I'm gonna start adding hamstring injury on the timeline again, just like I was doing with high ankle sprain, and I'm gonna tell them to drop the location. But we found out though there was another injury. Shout out to AG Fox, who's
Mhm.
actually in here. He caught this, and then now the beat writers got a hold of it, so he's dropping breaking news as well too. He was there at the practices as well. Trey Sermon's a little injured, huh? Like he was walking away pretty gingerly. He couldn't put a lot of energy on his feet, anything like that. Like
Yeah.
it's oh wait, what? Hold on. Andrew, Guru mentioned me on the radio. Why? Well, what did he say? Is he killing me? Is he crushing me? Like, no. All right. Jason, whose jersey did you wear Wednesday? It was McKinnon. That's my guy, Minnesota and 49ers legend. But Trey Sermon's banged up now too, right? What
Yeah.
did you see from the running backs yesterday in terms of who was starting, who was actually playing well? Because it sounded like Ty Davis Price was the first one off the board.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not exactly sure when Trey Sermon got hurt, but I did notice like we did see a little more of the other running backs. Jeff Wilson Jr., I mean, he's back there. And with Elijah Mitchell being out, to me, like he's the number two, right? So I think he's gonna be the first guy up more often than not. And he had a nice gain that I saw. I'll be honest, like a lot of the time I didn't have my eyes on the offense like the entire practice, so I
Mhm.
was looking at the defense quite a lot. So I can only speak on what I saw, right? So I saw Jeff Wilson Jr. had a nice gain on a reception from Trey Lance. I actually posted a video on it on my Twitter if you guys want to check that out. Another video I got was Jermichael Hasty. He broke off a pretty big run in team drills. And I also want to add that like big runs, I often wonder, okay, would that really be a big run in a real game situation? Because they're not actually tackling, it's just arm
Mhm.
tackles, and sometimes like it's subjective whenever the ref decides to blow the whistle pretty much and end the play.
Shout out to Dean. Trent Williams, RB1. Let's go.
I need
oh,
it. Need to
oh,
see it.
Andrew, it was Bonta. Oh yeah, Bonta's my guy, man. I love him, man. That's awesome. Was that today? Because I want to pull that clip up real quick. Was it when Brad Graham was on with him because he's popping off on the game today?
There's some
Let me know. But yeah,
celebrities
go
right
ahead.
there. You and Brad, celebrities.
Oh, will you stop it, Steph? But yeah, so it was. So you didn't really see too much from anybody that would give you any sort of confidence or something that you walked away with like super impressed. Then was what you're saying.
No, in regards to the running backs, not really. But also, like, I don't put too much stock in what the running backs do in practice again, just because they're not really tackling out there. So it's hard to say like what's a good run
I'm gonna
and what
check that
isn't
out.
a lot of the
I'm gonna check
time.
that out. I wanted to check it out this morning, but yeah. All right, Steph. I'm not gonna keep you for too much longer because it is your birthday, and I want everybody to run back her stream that was right on this if you
Yeah.
haven't, because it's so much context, so much there. I'm gonna cut it a little bit shorter today because I do want you to go, and I need to get a damn haircut. Um, Let me ask you this: what's your overall takeaway from how you feel? You were at training camp every single day. You've watched the joint practices at this point. Have your feelings changed about your expectations for this team in any way? And I know that I tell everybody not to make any sweeping statements, and I'm about to ask you to make a sweeping statement right now. But just more, have you walked away more confident in things that you were worried about? Have you lost some confidence in things that you necessarily weren't worried about in that lane? What do you think?
Maybe the secondary depth I'm a little worried about, but I also would think that we probably won't see both Charvarius Ward and Emmanuel Mosley hurt at the same time again. Hopefully, like we're just, crossing our fingers there.
I'm knocking
But
on wood
yeah,
here.
because the depth, that was actually something that I thought was going to be better, like going into the season. And of course, we don't have Jason Barrett either, which he's going to be ready, hopefully by week 1 as well. So that obviously will add to the depth portion of the secondary. But yeah, altogether, I mean, I think I was a little worried, but at the same time, not, because Ward and Mosley aren't out there, and our defense as a whole is monstrous. Like I think this practice with the Vikings has just solidified that, and it should also go to show you guys that the fact that this defense and this defensive line in particular has been like lights out against the Vikings should tell you, it should add to that context of Trey Lance maybe struggling in some of those training camp practices, right? He's going up against this defense, or he was going up against this defense. So, yeah, I mean, I think the offense is going to see some up and downs as we go, but I think we should feel okay with what Trey Lance brings to the table. And he's not the type of quarterback to run and hide, in the sense that, at the sight of any sort of pressure, he's just going to, uh, scramble every time, or just like move around aimlessly in the pocket. He has very good pocket awareness where he does it in a smart way, and he knows where he can move. Like he has, I don't know how he does it, but he just has a really good feel for his pocket. So I think I feel good about Trey Lance, despite, the offensive line struggling. I think he's going to be able to mask that a little bit. And I think the offensive line will eventually look okay. It'll be serviceable. And in practice as well, like Kyle Shanahan, like they're not doing anything special out there.
Which
They're
is why I don't
running.
understand why we can't videotape anything. I mean, it's not like they're running. I mean, they've already installed the offense. They're running scout team plays, for God's
Yeah.
sakes.
Yeah, the Vikings actually, like, they weren't too crazy about
Mhm.
regulating that. So I was thankful for that. But yeah, so they're not running anything special. We know Kyle Shanahan, when he's able to scheme things and actually run a lot of his plays, like he's got things up his sleeve that are going to put guys in position to win, including the offensive line. So I think as we see more of that and as a season, progresses, that's going to figure itself out. And I think as a whole, we should feel good about Trey Lance being somewhat insulated by the defense and, with how good the defense is going to be, that, like you said, all he has to do, just don't turn the ball over. And that's really all we'll need to ask for from him.
Absolutely. And again, this is part of the evaluation process. Here we are at camp, and then the next game is going to be the dress rehearsal, and then we're ready for week 1. But Steph, I'm gonna let you get out of here so you can enjoy your birthday, man. Shout out to you. Make sure you guys are following Steph on Twitter. Like this video on both channels. Subscribe to her channel. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't. Hit that notification bell. Steph, I want to leave you with this. Super proud to see your growth, man. Thank you for your coverage. You're incredible. You're getting your flowers. It's a beautiful thing to see. And we're getting very close to week 1 at this point, right? Like it's right there in front of you, right? Yes. Like it's like right there in grass. So yeah. So again, shout out to everybody for joining during this midday stream. I'll be back later. I've got Dr. Nirav Panja from 95.7 The Game on. We're gonna talk at night about the injuries, what's going on, what to expect from Jimmy Ward. I'm appreciative the doctor's taking some time to join Andrew and I. So make sure you guys are tapped in for this. I want to see a bunch of stuff on Steph's IG stories about her having drinks and having fun on her birthday. Well, real quick before I let you go, how was Minnesota? Like, a lot of people just automatically think that Minnesota is out there. There's not much to do. Look like you had a ton of fun.
Yeah. It's beautiful out there. Like a lot of green and lots of trees. So I was unfortunate. Unfortunately, I was there only for like a short amount of time. Like right. I flew in the morning of the practice and then flew out like last night. So I was in and out, and I didn't get to see a lot of Minnesota. Like I wish I would have been able to see the Mall of America, but Brad saw it. He said it was cool. But yeah, and I was able to hang out with some like coworkers from my 9 to 5. So that was cool. That's where I hung out.
If I could quote the great Eric Crocker, if I could quote the great Eric Crocker, Bears are trash. All right, let's get out of here, man. For Steph, for Jay, we appreciate you guys, and we'll talk to you. We'll talk to you in a bit. Later. Welcome everybody. Let's go Niners. My name is Jason Aponte.